I'll talk about research opportunities in e-waste management. I'm presenting on research opportunities in e-waste management, and my first slide was on what triple E is, because we're talking about triple E. Leon, let's carry forward and what triple E is. And I'll pick it up from what Dr. Farida has left from, because we have seen that actually this area is under-researched. Let's move on, Leon, because of time. The next slide, please, because I just want to say what is important.
Next slide.
Yes, thank you. E-waste problem is colossal, and it's growing. It's really growing. In 2016, I'm sure there's current data now alone. In 2016 alone, there was 44.7 million tons of e-waste that were generated globally, of which 435,000 tons were mobile phones alone. And only 20% of e-waste is documented to have been collected and recycled under appropriate conditions. You know, what is collected and handled in an environmentally friendly manner is only 20%. The rest of the percentage, the 80%, move on, Leon. 80% of the is either thrown into the residual waste stream or dumped or traded or treated in substandard conditions. We can see how we have been doing it in this part of the world, how hazardous it is, how bad it is to the environment, and how bad it is to ourselves. Simone, if you could mute kindly, Simone, kindly. Simone, yeah. And there's so many challenges that are brought about by this. There's vast amount of energy and hazardous substances that are required, for example, in the mining. From the first place, you know, when we introduce this into the market, as we do the mining, there's a lot of energy and a lot of hazardous substances that we expose these people to. And even in the manufacturing of these products, we have seen dangerous working conditions in mines. We have seen the use of miners. We have seen our children not even going to school, but they go to the mines to get this mine so that they can earn a living. And these are dangerous, very dangerous environments. The disposal and the recycling of electronic waste also exposes people and environment to toxic chemicals when used products are not treated in formal recycling centers. We have seen from Dr. Farida's presentation how waste that has been disposed in an environmentally manner that is not sound, how it has exposed them to, you can even see from the picture that I have shared, you know, the toxic chemicals, how they're affecting people's health and the environment. We have also seen about the soil, the toxicity of the soil and air from the previous presentation. Next, please.
Next.
Many African countries have no facility, many of them. There are some that have facilities and we can pinpoint and say this country and this one has facility to handle electronic waste. Others have inadequate implementation frameworks and structures, and most of the time it's usually due to lack of quantifiable data or statistics. People do not have, governments or whoever makes the decision in those parts of the world may not know exactly what it is. They will always triage, you know, they will always leave it when they're making decisions for later and make decisions for things that they feel are more important.
Muted the whole time.
Things that are more important. So, Simone, kindly. And
yes.
Let's look at lack of legislation. We have heard, and we've been talking about this thing. I heard Dr. Musili talk in the morning about lack of legislation. We as scholars, as people who understand electronic waste and its effects on human health and environment, what is our role as scholars, research organizations, as people who understand? What is our role? Okay, the role of research in legislation is basically we should be able to provide reliable information that can be used in policy formulation, development of standards and strategies, on especially imports and exports to the region. People who make decisions, legislative decisions, probably they have no idea. They don't know. They're waiting for knowledge. They're waiting for someone to tell them empirically that this information is, you know, if we don't handle this in this manner, this is what we are getting into. And they're waiting for people who have credibility, who can give information that is reliable. And it is the work of the researchers to do that, so that we don't have a gap between the industry and maybe the academia or the research institutions. We need to go out there and find out, give organizations reliable information, okay? Not hearsay, reliable information that will inform policy formulation, development of standards and strategies, and especially, I'm picking out imports and exports because that is the entry point. That is where we get these gadgets. When we look at its circularity, we should be able to say these are the products that we want for this kind of market. Okay, products that are recyclable, products that are repairable, products that are durable, products that are affordable for our people. Be able to give direction, and these people, the decision makers, can be able to trust us and pick it up from there. Development of a more sustainable e-waste management system is subject to the quality of data available for decision making. The quality of data that we have is what will help our countries, our nations, to be able to have good decisions for our continent. The continent needs to strengthen its effort on securing its borders to stop the influx of substandard and even unrequired donations. If you think about it, some donations are just unrequired and they pose great disposal challenges for us. So it is important for us as researchers to be able to say this is required and this is not required. If something is going to be here for only 10 years, 5 years or 2 years or 1 year and it dies or it reaches its end of life, why should we have it? If we do not it coming into our countries, they may not have the data, or they may have, but because there's no one is talking about it, everyone is allowing it to be done. So it is us to raise our voices so that we can be heard, so that something can be done. Decisions can be made from an informed point of view. Next, Leon. Okay. Then there's an issue on e-waste quantities. It was also mentioned, and this I have to commend the UNU e-waste monitor for always giving us the quantities as we go by. But it is not known exactly how much e-waste is available in the continent of Africa. There's a study that we are currently doing on e-waste quantities, and when you look at the information that has been there before, what has come out usually does not reflect what Africa has, and sometimes even what Africa gives. We may have them in our houses, we may have e-waste in our offices, but we are not willing to give it out for recycling or refurbishment or for treatment. So what is our role as researchers in this? We should be able to provide, carry out research and provide valid data, reliable and valid data that the continent can use to make policies, guidelines, and standards and strategies for management of e-waste. We need to know exactly what we have, at least a good estimation of what we have, so that people can make decisions based on information that is reliable. Okay, through this, the continent will be able to develop regulations and guidelines and strategies or standards and policies that especially will address the e-waste issues for the continent. When we have data that is reliable, data that is empirical, we have gone to the field and we have an estimation that is true. What we have had before has not reflected exactly what we have. And if we have e-waste that has not been given out, e-waste that has not been disposed by the owners, what should we do so that people can be able to give out this e-waste? People can be able to give out the electronic waste that they have in their homes. So it is upon us to be able to think through how best can we get the numbers, the true numbers that will reflect the true the numbers that we have in terms of the quantities. Next, please. Yes, Leon. Okay, there's also the tracking of EEE. We want to know how much we have, but how will we be able to track it and see if this gadget gets into Kenya, for example, it got here in 2014. Where is this EEE in 2021? Okay, current methods of tracking the origin, the use, the management of e-waste are extremely limited. There's need to do research on data management of EEE to be able to ascertain the number and the weight of products that become obsolete in Africa. There's a lot that is becoming obsolete, but people are not giving it out. People don't know. We cannot be able even to track what is there already. The amount of electronic products that are recycled or disposed of, uh, amount of electronic equipment that is stockpiled, collection rates of current electronics, recycling programs, and export of electronic materials. We have also seen this, it has been done elsewhere. I've seen the UNU developing the tools, the calculation tools that we can use. We have the keys that they have developed. But when you look at the how e-waste is categorized elsewhere, may not be the same as how we categorize it here. Okay, so for example, when a triple E comes to South Africa or to DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, or Tunisia, or whichever part of the world, this tool should be able to tell us this equipment is not allowed in this part of the world because we have standards for this. But since we do not have such kind of understanding of, each country has categorized it in its own way, and probably we may not be able to have a tool that is uniform for every one of us. And that is how we find many things coming into our this part of the world. So we should be able to develop keys that can be used in tracking e-waste in the continent. They can help in the creation or management and maintenance of databases with relevant information regarding parameters that would be useful to electronics producers, the recyclers, and the users. All of us stakeholders, we can be able to track, we can be able to know how much do we have, what do we need, is this required here, is this, when you're, for example, moving it from one country to another, is this thing allowed in the country that I'm taking it? So it is important that we also do such kind of things as researchers to be able to manage the data that we already have or manage the data that will be coming in. This will help even in decision making. Next. Yes, Leon. So generally, e-waste is under-researched in this part of the world. I have to repeat that. It is under-researched, and we need so much we need to do so much. Like it has been mentioned by my colleague, we need funds. We need people who are willing to do it. We need support from governments, from international world, from everyone else to be able to help the researchers to give or to bring this information into knowledge or into the light. Research institutions in Africa can join efforts to research and provide reliable information that can be used in policy formulation, in development of standards like I've mentioned, and regulations and strategies, because you can't do anything unless you know the numbers, okay? You know where you are at and where you want to go. Development of new and sustainable business models. We need business models that are inclined towards the circular economy, so that we stop doing, we move from whatever we are used to, of making and using and dumping, to a more sustainable business model. It will also inform us on education curriculum, for example. Which one should we follow? What should we teach our children as they grow up? They should be able to know the dangers and also be able to understand that there's a lot of opportunity in electronic waste. Recovery of materials. They can be able to do 1, 2, 3 things to make sure that our environment is safe for the future generations and even for themselves or ourselves. We can also do research that will inform us on socio-economic planning. We need to plan for our countries. We need to plan for our people. We need to plan for future, So, and unless we give data, we give information, unless researchers, do it, we will miss out a lot on what is important. And the decision makers, the policy makers will miss out on the information that is concrete, that will help them in making the decisions that they have to make. Otherwise, thank you very much, and sorry for the hiccup at the beginning. Thank you very much for listening. I'll be here for question and answer. And I'm here ready for any collaborations for research in Africa. Thank you very much.